Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Simeon and this week I'll tell you how to train shoulders. The shoulders or your deltoid muscles are a really important part of a well-rounded physique. As I've told you before, along with the neck, forearms and calves, your shoulders are one of those muscles that will make you look fit when wearing clothes. So it's not surprising that many people spend a whole workout every week training shoulders. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people that I see training shoulders are doing it all wrong. But before we get into the exercises, let me give you a brief overview of the shoulder muscle and a couple of things to look out for. Your shoulder muscle can really be divided into three parts. The front or anterior grouping of fibers is responsible for raising the arm forward in front of you. This group of fibers is used in any kind of a pushing movement. That is why that part of the shoulder muscle is really activated when you train chest. The middle portion of your shoulder or the middle head abducts the arm at the shoulder joint. Finally, the back portion of your shoulders or your posterior delts are the fibers that are responsible, along with your rhomboids and traps, for pulling your shoulders back. And the same way that your front shoulder is activated during your chest workout, your rear shoulder is activated during your back workout. So why are people training shoulders all wrong? First, because they put emphasis on the wrong shoulder fibers. Pretty much everyone that I see at the gym who is training shoulders begins with training the front part of the shoulders first. The problem with that is that everyone's front shoulders are the most developed out of the three. And when you begin your workout with training your front shoulders, you're developing it even more. That is why if you have a dedicated shoulder day, then you should begin training with your rear shoulder first. Why? Because those are the most underdeveloped muscles for the vast majority of people. Those are also the muscles that will have the most effect on your shoulder appearance. I think in general people begin with the front shoulder because that is what they see in the mirror. But appearance is not just about what you see, because what everyone else will see is your shoulders from the side as well. And if you look bulky in the front and deflated in the rear, then your shoulders will not look good. Overdeveloped front shoulders will also create a disbalance and rounded shoulders, so you definitely want to avoid that. The second mistake that most trainees and trainers make is that they train shoulders with the wrong exercises and with the wrong volume. In my video on technique, I told you about using popular exercises that are quite ineffective and dangerous for most people. In that video, I gave you the example of the cross between a bench press and leg raises. When it comes to shoulder training, the issue becomes that most people use exercises that are meant for physical therapy rather than building muscle. In fact, there are only a few isolation exercises for your shoulders that are really meant for building muscle. And notice how I said isolation and not compound. That is because you already did the compound movements with your chest and back workout. Now, I said training with the wrong volume because most people have a dedicated shoulder day where they do like 10 exercises for the shoulders. The problem with that is that your shoulder muscles are generally small muscles. In other words, they don't need that much volume and that much focus in one day. Instead, you should spread out your shoulder exercises throughout the week, thereby increasing the frequency of training that muscle group. How often you should train shoulders is subjective because it depends on your current condition, goals, and genes. I grow my shoulders very easy, so I only add one rear shoulder exercise on back day, one front shoulder exercise on chest day, and one side shoulder exercise on arm day. You have to always keep in mind that you put your shoulders through a lot of beating with chest and back training. But enough of that, let's get to the exercises. When it comes to training your rear shoulders, the absolute best exercise that will isolate that part of the muscle is the rear pec deck. The rear pec deck is a cable machine which creates a consistent tension and really allows you to overload your rear shoulder fibers. The rear pec deck is performed with the elbows slightly bent and squeezing the shoulder blades together as you exhale. The second rear shoulder exercise that I would recommend, especially for guys who really want to bulk up their shoulders, is the single arm dumbbell reverse fly. The reason why I included this exercise is because this is a different way of loading the muscle and it allows you with a little bit of cheating to raise the weight up and then try to slowly lower the weight as you focus on the eccentric portion of the movement. I prefer the single arm rather than the standard reverse fly because you can use the other arm to support your body and not worry about your lower back. Second is the middle portion of your lateral shoulder muscle. This is an important part of your shoulder to develop because it makes your shoulders look wider. Just like the rear delts, this muscle is best trained with a machine, and that machine is the lateral raise machine. All too often, I see people doing dumbbell lateral raises with baby weights, and then they wonder why their shoulders are not growing. My advice on dumbbell lateral raises is to stop doing them. Your shoulder development when doing dumbbell lateral raises is limited by the strength of your grip, your wrist, and your elbow stabilizing muscles before you ever get to training your shoulders. In my video on size, I told you that your body has a self-defense mechanism, which gives your muscles the stop doing this signal when the smallest muscle in the chain of muscles involved gets tired. And in the chain of muscles involved when doing the dumbbell lateral raises, the shoulder muscle is the biggest. So guess what? They won't be the first ones to get overloaded. Now the machine laterals, on the other hand, take the small muscles out of the equation and allow you to really overload the lateral delts. With this machine, you have to adjust the seat at the proper height, have a solid foundation, and try not to shrug at the same time that you're lifting your elbows. The point here is to work on the lateral delts and not the traps. For the vast majority of people, especially beginners and intermediates, this exercise alone will be sufficient to give you incredible results in your side shoulder muscles if performed 2 or 3 times per week. For the more advanced lifters, the only other exercise I would add, and because I often train alone and like focusing on the eccentric part of the movement, is the lean away lateral raises. The lean away lateral raises increase the range in which your side shoulder is under tension. Granted, here the load is not as big, but you're increasing the range and placing a greater overload at the top of the raise. Also, again, with a little bit of cheating, you can raise the weight up and do a few negative repetitions in the end of your set to really overload the muscle. Finally, if you want to train your front shoulder even more, then the best exercise would be the overhead press, which is also called the military press. Along with your front shoulder muscles, the military press is a compound exercise that also works on your upper chest, upper traps, and triceps. There are a number of alternatives to the military press, like the seated dumbbell shoulder press, which is good for fixing any muscle imbalances. But you will not be able to push as much weight as when using the bar because there are more stabilizing muscles involved with dumbbells. There are also machine alternatives that take even more of the stabilizing muscles out of the equation and allow you to really focus on overloading the front shoulder. Ideally, you want to rotate those 3 exercises so you get the benefit of each. However, you have to be really careful with the seated dumbbell shoulder press if you don't have a partner that can help you get the weight up, because I've seen too many people injure themselves just getting the weights up. Alright guys, this is all for this video on shoulders. As I said before, with shoulders, don't focus on volume in one workout. Instead, focus on volume as a result of increased frequency of training, meaning that training more often with fewer exercises is the best way to grow your shoulders. Thanks again for watching, and hit the like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this. I really appreciate all your support and the awesome public and personal messages that many of you sent me. A couple of people requested that I make a workout from home video because they don't have access to the gym as a result of the pandemic. So that is what I plan on doing next week. I also have a few other requests for videos that I'm working on as well, so hang tight and keep watching, and see you next week.